Hi. During a home inspection, the inspector will assess various aspects of the property to identify any potential issues or areas of concern. The major points that they are typically covering in the home inspection are structural components, exterior, roof, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, interior, insulation, ventilation, appliances. We look at that, we look at the structural components. They will examine the foundation, the walls, the roof, and other structural elements to check to see if there's any sign of damage, deterioration, or structural issues. When we look at the exterior inspection, this includes inspecting the exterior walls, the doors, the windows, the siding, and any attached surfaces like decks, porches, for damage, water intrusion, or safety hazards. If it's missing a railing on the porch or the stairs, they're going to note that. If perhaps there's some homes that were built earlier where there's not enough space between the pool and the outside stairs, that in fact is a safety hazard. If there's signs of damage or water damage coming through the roof or along the walls, cracks in the foundation, they'll note that. Now, with regard to structural foundation cracks, there is settling in any home. The level of or severity of those cracks, they normally measure them. If they exceed a certain amount, they will actually indicate that you have a structural issue. Some are just, they're settling cracks and they are, even from an insurance perspective, not a risk. Okay, so you have to check with the inspector and then, just make sure it's confirmed by your insurance company, because your insurance company will inspect the property prior to insuring the home. Generally, they do some sort of inspection, drive-by, and if they do detect that there are structural issues, they will let you know. The exterior. This includes inspecting the exterior walls, the doors, the windows, the siding, any attached structures like decks, porches, and so forth. Now, when we look at the siding and the exterior walls, there have been cases where there's defective siding put on homes, and they will, as an experienced inspector, know about the age at the home and the types of siding that were at issue. So do keep in mind that inspectors, based on their experience and their training, they do have knowledge about the components and the materials and the defective materials that may have been placed into certain homes during that period, during different periods of time, basically. Okay, when we look at the roof, the inspector will assess the condition of the roof. They'll look at shingles, flashing, gutters, chimney. They'll identify leaks, damage, or any other issues. Okay. With the roof, even insurance companies are going to have an issue with a home that has a roof that's 15 years or more. From the insurance perspective, they want a home where they will not have to replace or repair damage to an older roof. And so the roof is always a very touchy issue when it comes to a closing on a home, because there are many homes that are over the age of, that are over 15 years old, or homes that are being purchased with roofs that are, more than, 10 or 15 years old. The inspector definitely has a, knowledge of, roofing and shingles and so forth. They look at flashing. Most of the times they do a wind mitigation report to lower your insurance. And so that's a separate inspection generally that they go in, and they will, at least in our state, in Florida, they do what's called wind mitigation. They will go specifically and inspect the roof, um, go under in your attic, and they'll go and take pictures and videos and so forth, and inspect the roof in detail and the structure. So keep in mind that roofing can be a significant cost if you do purchase a home that is older and the roof is is older. Even tile roofs and so forth, that the homes that have the roofs that will last 30 years or more, that the roof is always generally an issue or a sticking point. Okay, so but the inspector will definitely be able to identify any issues related to the roof that may need to be handled so that you can address those with the seller prior to closing. Plumbing. The plumbing system has to be evaluated. Leaks, proper water pressure, functioning fixtures, and drainage issues. When it comes to plumbing, leaks cause water damage, and they have other mold issues and so forth. It's very important for an inspector to detect those. There are cases where the inspector did a cursory examination, particularly when you have a home where someone has fixed and flipped it, and they sort of put lipstick on a pig and they turn around and throw it out there for the next home buyer to buy. And it doesn't mean that they actually fixed any leaky pipes or any pipes within the walls that need to be fixed. So, it's very important for the plumbing system to be appropriately evaluated. And if there's any signs of water damage, that the source of that is determined, right? Proper water pressure. If their water pressure is low, that might be an indication that, in fact, there is an issue. A leak or somewhere coming into the house or within the house. Functioning fixtures and drainage issues. Sometimes a home is built, even a new construction, and you have a driveway that slopes down into the home. That creates drainage issues if they do not have appropriate drainage that will take the water and run it elsewhere. Homeowners that live next door may in fact reroute their drainage into your yard. So do keep in mind that the inspector will note that, hopefully, on the report. Okay. Electrical. Older homes have different wiring. The inspector will definitely examine the electrical system in every home. The main panel, wiring, outlets, switches, fixtures, to ensure they're functioning properly, meet safety standards. Older homes may need to be rewired, depending upon the home. The code for the electrical systems are constantly updated throughout the years, and in fact, an older home might have to be brought up to code. So keep that in mind. HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems will be inspected to assess their condition, efficiency, and proper function. It's important, to do so because the heating and air conditioning systems, particularly in the southern states, have to be replaced more often. And they're expensive. For all intents and purposes, even a small air conditioner is $5,000 or $6,000. Okay, so do keep in mind that ensuring that they are inspected, and they're noted on the report whether or not the age of the HVAC system will be an issue. Okay. If you're in a southern state where the air conditioning system is used perpetually, you might have to replace your AC every 5 to 10 years. If you are traditionally very lucky to have an AC system that actually lasts 10 years. So keep in mind that that's a major expense for a buyer. Interior spaces. They'll be examined for water damage, mold, cracks, and other signs of damage or deterioration. Interior spaces, even when you have a bathroom, and if they did not ventilate the area or the kitchen well, taking a shower and not putting on the exhaust fan in order to ventilate the bathroom may over time result in mold growing. So it's very important that that those areas are reviewed and assessed, that the insulation and ventilation levels in the attic and crawl spaces are meeting the recommended standards that are required. That if you do have a ventilation system in a bathroom or a kitchen, that it actually does go outside. There's some structures where you can question that. With your washer and dryer, has to be able to that those also have to be able to function and not be a fire hazard or be clogged, the ventilation there. Normally exhausts through the roof. Appliances. Well, not always included. Some inspectors also evaluate the condition and functioning of major appliances like the stove, the dishwasher, and the water heater. There are many homes where you have 2 stoves, one works, one doesn't. Water heater is a very expensive item. That is a very expensive, if it is not functioning or it is an older water heater, typically it does cause problems. Okay, and again, it's a major expense. There are things that an inspection will not reveal. Again, the inspection is an inspection at a point in time, a visual inspection with certain non-invasive components, basically. Unless you're hiring a specialized inspector, the general inspection doesn't really, put holes in walls and so forth. Now, if you're looking for mold and other issues, those inspections do come with some, minor invasive procedures that do occur. But the general inspection is limited in certain cases. It will, if there's hidden issues, they cannot see through the walls or under the floors. So plumbing leaks, electrical issues, or structural defects may not be discovered, but they might be able to see some potential problems, but it won't discover all of them, okay? Cosmetic concerns. A home inspection is focusing on the functionality and the safety of the property. So minor cosmetic issues like peeling paint or outdated fixtures are not part of the inspection. Again, most contracts really don't address the cosmetic issues also. But you, if that's a concern, must bring that to the attention of the seller and your agent if you have one. Environmental hazards. Inspectors are not typically trained to identify environmental hazards like asbestos, lead-based paint, radon, or mold. If you have concerns about those, you might need specialized inspectors. Again, maybe you wouldn't think that there would be a meth lab in the area. So though, again, that's an environmental inspection. Lead-based paint. Those, pre-1978 homes potentially have lead-based paint. That's a separate test. Radon. Radon is a naturally occurring substance in homes, particularly in the north, but it occurs in the south also. And it's there's separate testing for that. And mold, some of the procedures and testing for that are a little invasive. They are done uh, in by specialized inspectors that do testing in that area. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's an additional cost, but it's well worth it. Future problems. A home inspection provides a snapshot of the property's condition at that point in time, at the time of the inspection. It can't predict future issues that arise due to normal wear and tear or to changes in weather conditions. So, if there are, wind gusts that come through with a storm and they pull off some of the shingles, unfortunately, that is not something that, the inspector can guarantee. They do an inspection at one point in time, but if the storm occurs a week later, that's not going to be revealed on that inspection. Okay. It's important to manage your expectations and limitations of a home inspection. If you have specific questions or concerns, always require additional inspections in certain areas. It's advisable to consult with an inspector or hire specialized professionals to address those concerns. And your home inspector will have other inspectors or specialized inspectors, a list of them, and be able to make some recommendations for you.